আসসালামু আলাইকুম, আশা করি ভালো আছেন। আজকে আমরা আলোচনা করব হলো ক্লাসিফিকেশন অফ প্রোটিন অন দ্য বেসিস অফ কেমিক্যাল নেচার অ্যান্ড solubility. On the basis of general physical and chemical properties, protein is classified into three major groups: simple protein, conjugated protein, and derived protein. What is simple protein? They are composed only amino acid residue, or the protein which gives only amino acid on hydrolysis is called simple protein. They are pure protein and have no non-coding group in the molecules. And then we can go to conjugated protein. In conjugated protein, besides the amino acid, this protein contains a non-protein moiety, and that non-protein moiety is known as prosthetic group or conjugated group. Okay. Next is derived protein. What is derived protein? You can see these are the denatured or degraded protein, or simple or conjugated protein. Okay, so that means on protein or hydrolysis, these proteins are not found in nature, as they are found as product of hydrolysis of the native protein molecules. The gradual stages are as like protein, which is formed as protease, then peptone, then peptides, and then last is amino acid. So albumin globulin is known as native protein. So this is the actually main classification of the main protein. Protein are classified mainly into three. We say these are simple protein, conjugated protein, and derived protein. Now, if we go of protein classification of protein, especially simple protein on the basis of hydrolysis. Albumin. Albumin, their characteristics, they are soluble in water and dilute salt solution and coagulate by heat. They are widely distributed in plant and animal, usually in small amount. Like in egg, we know of albumin or egg albumin. The egg albumin is known as also albumin, and there is serum albumin, lactoalbumin, milk. These are known as albumin. Then you can see globulin. What is globulin? Globulin are insoluble in water, but soluble in dilute salt solution and dissipated by half saturated salt solution, like serum globulin found in our serum. And then glutelin. Glutelin, they are insoluble in the water, but soluble in dilute acid and alkali, mostly found in plant. Especially you can see glutelin in wheat. Glutelin have some bad effect for our health. Okay, we'll discuss this later on. Now we'll go for classification. Now prolamine. What is prolamine? That insoluble in water and absolute alcohol, but soluble in 70 to 80% alcohol, like gliadin, gene. These are known as prolamine. And then scleroprotein. What is scleroprotein? It's totally insoluble in water, completely insoluble in water, or dilute acid or alkali, like keratin, hair, nail, hoof, feather, bone, skin, ligament. They are completely insoluble. Now, if we ask about the Osborne classification, Osborne classified the protein on the basis of solubility into 5. These are the 5. And later on, scientists found there are some other characteristics didn't find in this 5. So if we ask about Osborne classification, then we will write this 5. But if I say that hydrolysis of protein, then you have to write this 7. So number 6 is histone. What is histone? It's a soluble in water, insoluble in very dilute ammonium hydroxide. Protein found in stroma, RBC, and thymus tissue. These are known as histone. Globin or hemoglobin or histone. Globin or hemoglobin and histone. Okay. You will find histone in chromosome. If you know about chromosome, the inner part is known as nucleic acid. The outer part is protein. This protein is histone. And then protamine. What is protamine? They are basic polypeptides soluble in the water, dilute acid alkali, but not coagulated by heat. This is the important thing. Albumin, they are coagulated by heat, though they are soluble in the water, but they are coagulated by heat. But in this case, protamines, they are not coagulated by heat. Protamines are also found in association with nucleic acid, sperm protein. Example, like in sperm, you'll find this protamine. Okay, so these are the 7 we found. These are the 7. They are on the basis of solubility. Now, if we go for classification of conjugated protein, okay, what is conjugated protein? We already discussed. If there is some prosthetic group, non-protein parts attached with protein, that's are known as conjugated protein. So you can see these are the example. Like first one is chromoprotein. The prosthetic group is color in nature, like hemoglobin, myoglobin. So you know this hemoglobin is red in color. So this is why it is known as chromoprotein when this colored compound is there. And glycoprotein, combination of protein with carbohydrate, like mucopolysaccharide, like mucin or mucin. These are the example of glycoprotein. Now, phosphoprotein, when phosphoric acid is the prosthetic group, that means in this phosphoprotein we will find phosphoric acid, like casein, betaline, egg yolk. Now, nucleic acid, nucleoprotein, like nucleic acid, DNA or RNA is the prosthetic group. Like we said already before, that in chromosome you will find the middle hand, they have DNA, and the outside too, you will find that protein, and that protein is known as nucleoprotein, like nucleohistone. And metalloprotein, here, this protein contains metal ion like iron, cobalt, zinc, copper, magnesium, etc. These are the examples, like carbonic anhydrase, the present in zinc. Now, lipoprotein, proteins found in combination with lipid as the prosthetic group, such as fatty acid, cholesterol, and phospholipid. Okay. Example, serum lipoprotein, blood lipoprotein, membrane lipoprotein. And next chapter, when we will discuss about lipid, we will discuss more about lipoprotein. These are very important, lipoprotein. And flavoprotein that contain riboflavin as their prosthetic group. Flavoprotein of liver and kidney. So these are the actually classification of conjugated protein. So we classify the classification of conjugated protein into 7. Now we will go for derived protein. Classification of derived protein. The derived protein are two types: primary derived protein and secondary derived protein. What is primary derived protein? Primary derived protein are denatured or coagulated by first hydrolyzed products of protein. Primary derived proteins are classified as follows. So coagulated protein. Okay. What is primary derived protein? Primary derived protein are denatured, coagulated. Okay. So they didn't change the whole thing. Okay. They are still their protein. Like these are the denatured proteins such as agents such as heat, acid, alkali. Okay. Like if you put an egg in an oven or boil it, what will be happen? It will be coagulated. Okay. Cooked protein, coagulated albumin. But it will not change. Like the protein is not like the egg will not convert it like a potato. Okay. So these are proteins. They are just coagulated. That's protein are known as coagulated. And then protean. These are the earliest product of protein hydrolysis by enzyme or diuretic acid or alkalis, etc., which are insoluble in water. Fibrin protein. Like if you give an example, if you think that you have a protein that's molecular weight is 50,000, and if you take that protein, inject that protein in stomach, the protein will hydrolyze, and now they will produce. You can think three parts. One is 20,000, another is 15,000, and another is also 15,000, and one is 16,000, and another is 14,000. All are still protein. They are protein, but they are part of protein after hydrolysis. So these are proteins are known as proteans. আমরা যদি বাংলায় বলি, প্রোটিনটা আমরা খাওয়ার পরে আমাদের স্টোমাকে আসার পরে কোনো এনজাইম দিয়ে ভেঙে গেল, ভেঙে যাওয়ার পরে তার মলিকুলার 5,000 উপরে থাকলো, সেজন্য সে তখনও প্রোটিন থাকলো, কিন্তু তার আসল যে ভবিষ্যৎ থেকে দূরে চলে গেল, এই জন্য এটাকে আমরা বলতেছিলাম প্রোটিয়ান. Next is metaproteins. These are the second stage of protein hydrolysis obtained by treatment with slightly stronger acid and alkali. Okay, so these are known as metaproteins. Example: acid and alkali, metaprotein. So these are proteins are produced by hydrolysis by obtained stronger acid or alkalis. So still they are protein. Why these are primary derived protein? Why they are primary derived protein? Primary derived protein means they are still they are protein in nature. But when the protein is break down or change more, they are not on protein in nature. That time they will be known as secondary derived protein. Now you can go later on. You can see what's happening. These are the progressive hydrolysis products of protein hydrolysis. Secondary derived proteins are included proteose. What's proteose? Soluble in water and non-coagulated by heat. Albumose, globulase, or these. So the first part, the biggest part was protean. Okay, the biggest part of digestion is protein, and the smallest part is now proteose. And now after proteose, when it will be break into more smaller part, it will be converted into peptone, perhaps an advanced stage in protein hydrolysis. And at last, when the molecular weight or when the amino acid is less than 10, that time it will be known as peptide. compounds containing 2 or more amino acids. Okay, they may be di, tri, and polypeptides. So that means when it is less than 10 amino acids there, that is known as peptide, like glycol alanine, glycol glutamic acid is an example of peptide. Now we'll go for classification of protein according to shape. According to shape, they are known as two types. One is globular protein and fibrous protein. What is globular protein? They consist of polypeptide chain tightly formed into compact spherical shape. Most globular proteins are soluble in aqueous solution. So they don't have any size and shape. Okay, they are compact in spherical shape, like albumin, lactobilin, globular protein. These are globular protein. This fibrous protein, they consist of polypeptide chain arranged in parallel along fibrous or sheet. So they mainly produce fibrous or sheet. Fibrous proteins are tough and insoluble in water, but they are in salt solution. They are the basic structure elements in city of higher animal. Okay, so the collagen of tendon, bone matrix, alpha keratin of hair, as we discussed already, that in hair we have alpha helix and horn, skin, feather. If you can think in fish, they have scale. Okay, so these are known as fibrous protein. And the collagen are high in hydroxy protein and hydrolysin, poor in cysteine and cysteine. Common keratins are rich in cysteine and cysteine collagen content, no tryptophan. So these are the fibrous protein. Okay. Okay. This is generation protein. Now, classification of protein according to function. Now, we can classify protein according to function like enzyme or catalytic protein. All the enzymes, okay, pepsin, trypsin, hexokinase, DNA polymerase, these all are enzyme. So they are catalytic proteins. Now, structural proteins. Proteins that are essential compounds of several structure, like keratin of hair, nail, collagen, bones. So they form structure in our body. This is why these are known as structural proteins. Then transport proteins. Proteins capable of binding and transporting specific types of molecules, blood, like hemoglobin that carry oxygen, myoglobin, cerebral albumin. They actually act as a transport. So proteins capable of binding and transporting specific types of molecules, known as transport protein. Then conductal protein. Proteins are essential elements in conductile and motile system. Myosin and actin as thick and filament myofibril. Like if you in your hand, if you just make it long and short, আমি যদি হাতের বাহুকে যদি বলি, আমি টান দিলাম, বড় করলাম, আবার ছোট করলাম, কাছাকাছি নিয়ে আসলাম, বড় করলাম, এটা যদি আমি করি, এই যে মাসেল, এই মাসেলকে আমরা কি বলতেছি? কন্ট্রাক্টাইল প্রোটিন। দেন ইমিউনোপ্রোটিন, proteins having protective or defensive function of antibodies, compounds like thrombin. Like in our body, there are lots of, in the outside of our body, we have lots of microorganisms like bacteria, virus, all these things, and they enter our body. So our body system, they actually fight with these microorganisms. So in that case, they produce some protein, okay, that defensive function of antibodies, compounds. This type of protein is known as immunoprotein. Now, regulatory protein possessing regulatory functions, like all the hormones like insulin hormone, growth hormone, all the hormones, the protein hormones, they are known as a regulatory protein. The storage protein, there are some protein like carbohydrate, there are some proteins, they also act as storage. These are known as storage protein, like albumin, glutelin, these are. And there are some proteins, those proteins are good for us, but there are some proteins who are very toxic. So those proteins are known as toxic protein. Proteins are they are extremely toxic to higher animals, like resin of castor beans, snake venom. You see, snake venom is very toxic. Those snake venom have protein, but if it snake bites us, what will happen? Many people can die or something. So we have problem. So these are the proteins. These are known as toxic protein. Next chapter we will discuss more details. Now, genetic protein. Protein such as histone and protamine that are in combination with genetic material, nucleic acid, like nucleoprotein, like histone. Okay, proteins as I discussed already, that in chromosome, the inner part are nucleic acid, the outer part they have protein. That protein is known as histone, and that is act as a genetic material, nucleic acid. So these are nucleic protein. So these are the protein classification of protein on the basis of function. So I think all of you have enjoyed this class. Next class, we will discuss about hydrolysis of protein hydrolysis. Thank you, everybody. আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আশা করি ভালো আছো সবাই, এনজয় করছো ক্লাস। সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।